Everything in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life comes not from the Father, but from the world. Today's topic, we're going to talk about lust. I think this is a huge topic that needs to be talked about. I've been having a lot of conversations with people, and I've been hearing a lot about lust, and this people don't understand how dangerous and how serious this really is, and how detrimental this really can be to your life. Um. So yeah, first I'm just going to talk about how this usually starts. Um, I think I really can speak from like a man's point of view. I can't necessarily speak from one point of view, but I'll try my best, to get everything. If not, I can make a part two. It's fine. But anyways, how does this usually start? I could say from our adolescence and from growing up. I think there's always people over us, like uncles, dads, and just male figures. I don't necessarily say role models, but I guess they're when you're the age of 7 and 8 and 6 and whatnot. Those are role models to you. Bad role, not the best role models, but they're everything to you at these ages. I think those are the people who lead you either in the right path or the wrong path. They can sometimes determine what your future is going to look like. But you know, um, I say, I guess starting off being a guy, you're exposed to so much, especially around being other males, people who are older than you. A lot of people think that a lot of males, older males, they think, oh, you should be worried about this girl, or she's cute, or look at that butt, or those breasts, that waist, body T. All these sorts of things, I think these are very important things rather than teaching men how to be men and how to respect women, and not just their bodies, but their minds. I think this is another reason why a lot of men pick up on a lot of ways to manipulate women to get access to their body. They learn the mind just enough to get access, but it isn't pure or true. And once they get what they want, it's over. I think this is taught. This is taught at a young age to do this, to compliment them and talk about these certain things. And this is a two-way street. I would say this because at the same time, a man can only do what a woman allows. But I think a man is at the top of all this, and I'll explain what that means. There's a man that can manipulate a young child into only caring about a woman's body. We got not teaching them to flee their sexual immorality. But having us, engage more into that instead of focus on other things like sports, investments, life, just important things like that. How to stay on top of your grades, credit, college, entrepreneurship, all these important things that I think starting off a lot of men usually don't talk about, but like a lot of people are focused on women a lot of times, right? So it starts off with that. We can have a man who could teach a man. We can have a man who could teach a boy about all the things to get on the woman's good side and to get access to her. And we can have a man who could teach a woman, or won't even teach women about protecting yourself so that men can't have that access. So that's why I say I think men are at the top of everything, because if you have a good father figure in the house, you can show your daughter what men are supposed to be like and what men are supposed to do, and what I'm saying, how they would want how men are supposed to treat them, and so that this won't be as a lot of men can have access to them. But I think at times when you don't have that, it's messed up for both sides because they're thinking that this is how things are supposed to be run. A man could say anything, a little couple sweet things, and then boom, they're in there, right? And then on the other side of that, the man think he could just talk to a woman anyway, and then boom, he's in there. Eventually, this will lead to hurting women. Never truly respecting a woman. Men, it starts off as boys who don't respect women to men who don't respect women, right? Um, And this could teach you. This shows a pattern. If you succeeded, a man who succeeded into doing this and getting access to women, they do it. This is like sport to them. This is what it becomes eventually. So now you're building this. You're feeding the spirit of lust. You're feeding these demonic spirits of lust, and it's growing more and more and more. It's like an addiction, right? You know, you have one thing and you kind of get used to it, and we're going for higher and higher challenges. We're going higher and higher with this to feed. You got to keep feeding this spirit. You got to keep feeding this demonic force. This lust. People will always want more until they can't, until something stops them. And this is where a breaking point happens. I think it's great when things do stop people, because it can get really bad. It gets really dangerous out here if you really let lust take over. So, and we'll say this: it starts off. I feel a lot of times it can start off in the household, then it goes to school, right? You have so many different people who weren't the exact role models they should have been, and when you have over 500 kids in the building and half of the role models were like this, it's going around. People are talking about things, they thinking the way they were taught, and they thinking that this is how it should be. We should keep trying to gain access to women and whoever can get the most bodies and whatnot, right? Now it's a competition with lust, and you're building this, you're feeding the spirit, this demonic spirit, even more. You're feeding it even more, because now it's a race, and now it's like you're talking with your homies, you're talking amongst your peers and whatnot about how many women you've been with, and it turns into this competition, I feel. And the more you do that, you're gaining more and more soul ties, destroying people's self-image, and you're feeding this demon. You're feeding the spirit. So yeah, and this spreads. It spreads like a virus around to everyone. But if you build up a great foundation within the home first, some things like that won't even be able to penetrate the mind at all. I'm not saying everyone can, eventually people learn a lot in school and stuff happens, but yeah, but not everyone, but you get exposed to a lot of things. I think what you watch on TV is very important. What you listen to, music, everything is very important. All this type of music and what's on TV gets people curious into going into other things online and websites and whatnot, and they're gaining even more and more spirits. You're watching people through a screen do certain acts, commit acts and whatnot, and you're feeding that into your mind, and that's all you're thinking about. You're going in the big 26. And yeah, this is not good. You know what I'm saying? This is a bunch of people. I know there's a lot of people get together and they share these type of videos as well. And it gets bad. It's bad. Because eventually this is going to leave the mind. And it can get dangerous because now I'm pretty sure a lot of women have experienced this, but women say no, right? It can happen. And when you're so caught up in this lust and you want this now and you're expecting everything to go your way or this should happen this way, a lot of men can't handle no. And I think it leads to a lot of women getting hurt, to mess them up for a while, or even and in one's life. I think that's why I say lust is very important. It's very important. It can mess up your whole life. Yeah, I'm glad that I want to say this. It's bad when people hurt people. Yes, it's always terrible. But I'm happy when it doesn't get to that point. Like when certain people realize how terrible this is, and it won't get to that point where you're hurting people and you're doing this. But that isn't the case for everyone. Some people have to. I'm not saying like this has to happen, but that's this is the way life is. It's the way what I'm saying. Everything is going to happen. The way it happens. We can't really change too much about things. So some people have to hurt, or eventually it comes to a point where someone gets hurt for someone to change. And I'm glad that people have changed and they realize how terrible lust is and how much it destroyed their life. But same token, you did hurt someone, which is not okay. and it's bad, and you have to deal with that. But then it's on the other side, it's like, you know, the pain that you have caused someone, you know what you did, right? That will play in your mind forever, right? Like, if you really truly, if you truly care, even people act like they don't care, they still think about that type of stuff. But that will play in your mind, and I'm glad it does, because even every thought you have about disrespecting a woman or whatever, hope that plays in your mind. You can know to never go down that path of lust again, because you see where it brought you. Some things like that need to happen for people to finally understand it. Some people, it even goes even further. Some people need to go to jail. Need to go to jail. It happens. I hope, it sucks that people let the lust take over where it gets to that, where it gets that far, but it happens. It happens to people. But yeah, I feel like that's how it starts. I usually talk about personal experience during this, but I'm not someone who's been just trying to rack up, women I could talk to, this and that. It's never been me. I've always been pretty respectful to women. So yeah, it's not really my story. But still, I still have been exposed. I will talk about this though. I still have been exposed to these things though. Like middle school and everything. I've met a bunch of women who I met one girl first time, I think like 7th grade, who exposed me to a lot of stuff. So you do get a like introduction to that type of world, and you get curious, because I think she would just talk to me randomly in class and just show me random stuff in class, like just like weird, just sexual acts and stuff, just like it won't even be the topic. We could just be in class talking about something random, and she's like, "Hey, you want to see this, or what is this?" I'm like, and then she's saying these type of different terms and stuff to me, and I'm like, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that is. And then she shows me and whatnot, and then okay, I'll look this up, and then now you're already exposed to mentally. Now you're thinking like, okay, this is interesting, and then now you're in your own time, you're searching things up, and that's just a gateway. It's like a gateway in, like how people say weed is like a gateway drug to something even crazier. Yes, it's like that. I think anything sexual acts like pornography or anything, magazines, no matter what it is a gateway into something even crazy, a crazier world. And it can leave, and lust can leave you in shame. You know, this is hard as well. And while people do stay in that, I think unless you're honest, at least find one person. If you can find one person you could talk to about this stuff, amazing. Amazing that you can be honest. Someone you trust, you can be honest with. I think everyone needs that, or a therapist. Everyone needs that, because being ashamed and keeping this in, it's not freeing you from this at all. It's staying in there. You have to, I feel like you, this has to let out. No matter how embarrassing it is, and it's where the pride comes. So, and the pride of your life comes not from the Father, but from the world, right? Why I think a lot of times we have pride built up is because we're so ashamed of what everyone else is going to think. We're so ashamed what's going to happen if this happened. We're so ashamed of how everyone perceives us. But if it heals us and it sets us free to talk about these certain things with everyone, when we need to do it. It doesn't matter how crazy it is. If it needs to be said. If it's going to free you and heal you and make you become a better person, do it. I think we're so caught up in what people say, and I think that's why a lot of sins remain. Like, people lie, steal, lust, everything, all the type of sins. I think pride holds, me personally, is how I feel. I think pride holds all those things together. I think pride prevents people from coming out about those things. But yeah. So I guess now I guess we got into story time, but now like how to stop these things. Because I can't just I don't want to keep bringing up a bunch of situations and then not talking about how to stop these things, like how to deal with lust, like the Bible tells us, to resist, how to resist, walk by the Spirit, how to resist these type of things. First we have to stop feeding it. First I want to talk about this. Stop feeding the lust. Find something else to do. Feed something else. Feed something positive. If you're I don't know if you like playing games, you like making content, you like getting money, going to work, you like, praising the Lord and, reading your Bible, reading books, feed those type of positive, feed those positive things. Like going outside, hiking, art, feed those things over the lust. And how we do that, right? Times where you would usually be on your phone and look at a bunch of, I don't know, it could be like pornography or whatever. Stop. Replace that with reading a book, regular, or not, like a regular book that helps you grow as an individual, or getting off your phone and go outside. It's the little things that count, because over time you won't depend on that anymore and you won't need it. It's things like that to help overcome these things. Feed something else and quit feeding it, and quit trying to. I think the problem is when we see these things and we're dealing with lust, run. The Bible tells us to run from it. Run from those things. We're trying to fight it, hold back. No, flee. Flee immediately. Immediately. Flee from those things. Flee from the things that are keeping you captive, the things that are keeping you in lust. Flee when you're feeling tempted and someone's tempting you, or you're just in a situation where you're feeling tempted to do stuff. Flee from it. It doesn't. And if you physically got to get up and get out of a situation and go home and leave leave a place you're in, do it. Leave. If it's something's popped up on your phone, block what's showing up. We got a bunch of OnlyFans models. We got all this. I know it's everywhere. Like, it's in our face, especially being in this internet era. It's everywhere, bro. We get junk mails and all type of stuff, just advertising sex everywhere. Block it. Leave from these things. Sometimes, if you have to delete social medias and what, delete them. Watch, the secular music, because we listen to a lot of music because the vibes and whatnot, but we gotta listen to these lyrics. These lyrics are in our ear. And that's all we can hear, 24/7 is going on our mind. It gets you in type of mood, or what I'm saying? It gets you repeating these lyrics, and you're allowing these spirits also into your mind, your soul. All those things. And it can keep really, really terrible thing. And keep this going. It can keep feeding. It feeds your lust. You just gotta stop feeding it. You gotta move on. We gotta do something else healthier. Replace it. And I think this is with anything, not even just with lust. I feel like this is with addictions and everything. I say, yeah, I think I talked a lot. We talked about how it usually starts, how to stop, fleeing from it, story. Yeah, I know there's a lot of other things to talk about, but I can make a part 2 on this. Definitely I have more videos to make. I guess more to escape these urges and whatnot, and then yeah, and also those friends. I have a friend who's like really like. I had a friend actually. I cut him off because of this. Who's very like hypersexual, like everything. He wants me to go to the club. It's all about women, this, sex, that, and this and the third. It's like it's everywhere. Like, it's kind of like taking over his everything. Like, to the point where he's like abandoning friends to like meet up with women and do these certain things, and just forgetting about what's important. I had to cut off the type of people. Those people who are inviting you, these places are keeping you in these environments. Sometimes you gotta cut off people and focus on yourself. It's great to go into isolation at times. It's amazing to go in isolation. It's good to fast, talk to God. It's good because you're starving. When you fast, you're kind of taking the power back, from your flesh, because our flesh is naturally evil. Our flesh wants what it wants. Your flesh wants you to engage in pornography and lust and all these other things. But I feel like this is low key fashion, like an exercise, because what our flesh desires the most is food. But if we can learn to depend on God and pray the whole time, and know that we have control of our flesh and God is with us, and just keep praying and stay in prayer, it's amazing. Because if you can take control of your flesh, then you can take control over anything. You let God just take over, honestly. But if you could learn to control your flesh and to control your desires and, deprive your flesh of what it needs the most, which is food, and stay in prayer because God will provide all that we need, you can do this. I feel like it's the first exercise. I feel it's escaping these type of things. And be honest. Talk openly about these things because who can judge you? It doesn't matter if people will judge you, but the only person who judgment matters is God. The only person who can look at you any type of way is God. And that's the only thing that matters. And God loves you. He loves when people come forth about these things and talk about it because it shows that you're putting that pride to the side and you're being honest. And it shows growth and it shows that you really want to change as a person. You really want to let go of these things. And you really want to move forward. But we want to hide these things. You feel so ashamed that you can't even like talk about these things and show that you aren't truly ready to get rid of these things or escape them. And I think that's with anything. Like this goes further than lust. This goes with anything you're dealing with. But yeah, that's all I want to talk about in this video. I'll catch you on the next video. I will upload this same day. But if there's any more topics you all want to talk about or we can deal with, mind you, I'm going through this the same as y'all going through it. I'm no professional. I just talk about what the things God wants me to talk about and what comes to my mind. I'm still learning everything as well. I don't know everything about the Bible, but I'm still learning. I'm still going through life. I just know I've been through like a lot of life experience and whatnot, so I like to talk about them. And and I'm not perfect anyway. I still deal with things, but it's great to document it here and tell you guys how I've overcame things and what I've dealt with in life. So, yeah, so it's something just great. I think also I want to know when people, I think I had a question before about someone, like what really is a sin and how does that work? What are sins? God has made all things like pure and, right in his image, right? Things that freaking pervert what God has made for us that has been changed around by men and just demonic strongholds and whatnot. Those are considered sins. Like for example, just going around since we're on the topic of lust, I said just going around just having sex with a bunch of women, creating covenants and whatnot with women. That's not what God made sex for. Originally supposed to be shared between two partners, who are like married, and that's why you're not supposed to create all these soul ties with random people. These are supposed to be ties you keep between your wife and husband. This is why when you're creating so many soul ties with people, that's why people find it so hard to because you're sleeping around with people. And then when your partner is doing crazy stuff, like where signs are showing you signs and reasons why you should have been left them alone, it's hard because you've created a soul tie with them. You've done a ritual, you've done something that should only be shared between a married couple, but you're doing it with random people. So it's hard now. You letting stuff that you should have left alone a while ago, you letting it continue on because you created soul tie and you're wondering why I can't leave this person, or it's hard for me to get rid of this individual or stop messing around with them because you've created something. You have done something that should have stayed between you and your partner, but you're doing it with random people out here in the streets. And people, yes, you can have multiple soul ties, not just one person. Like when you're sleeping with a bunch of people, yes, you can have multiple soul ties. But yeah, you create this is attachment that should only be shared between your husband, wife. And that's why and when you have that type of soul tie between your partner, I feel like it keeps the marriage stronger. Because there's things that would happen in your marriage where it's like, oh, you're not so quick to give up on that you're staying with them. Okay, we got this, we're married. I'm not saying just accept anything. If your partner's you're in a marriage, your partner's terrible. Yes, that foundation probably wasn't even built right in the first place. But when the foundation is truly built on God and you all understand that and you all are in it for the right reasons, you're not just getting married because it looks cute, then yes, it will work out. And in this covenant you have, which is like sex, just further strengthens you all. You all are becoming one. and you can deal with things more. You know what I'm saying? But when you're just doing that with everybody, you're doing this ritual, you're becoming one with everyone, and it's like, okay, you can't do that. That's why we have all these problems, you have these issues, and people start bringing children into the mix, and children are growing up in toxic households. And then, boom, the cycle repeats over and over and over again because you never fully healed when you were going through this with this random partner. Now you're not sure, not even just not healing, you never knew how to deal with it. And now you're bringing a child into this world, and then a child could be going through the same thing, and you can't really stop them from going through the same thing because you never learned how to get out of that situation. And now your child is falling into the same situation you fell into, and the cycle repeats and it repeats and it repeats and it repeats again. And that's why we have so many children who are lost children who turn into lost adults who have more lost children into the world, and they're going around just doing whatever. And that's truly how I feel about that. Um, and it goes around, and people just thinking, "Oh, sex is just cool." People not understanding their worth and knowing anything. And when you're just doing that, and you're bringing more children to the world, and you don't even know your partner because you're sleeping around with everybody. And this is why we have a lot of fatherless communities. And I think the father is supposed to be held. The father is supposed to hold the household together. And when you have sons and daughters, you're not even teaching them how someone should treat them because you're not in the picture, or either you're in the household but you don't even communicate with your kids, you don't even communicate with your family, and they're just going through life the best way they know how. They're going through life the best way they know how to go through life. You haven't instilled that into your kids. They don't understand, and it's hard to even try to instill that into your kids when they're older, because it's like, they're out of that like moldable age, and they're going through life and they're trying to experience it on their own and understand what's going on. It's very important. That's why being a father and staying in your kid's life is very important. We need the whole family just as much as a girl needs her mother, she needs her father just as well. It's a balance. You need that nurturing side, but then you need that other side that keeps you strong and that can show you in how men are and how men should treat you. And you get older, and then you find a guy who's like your father, and you create this positive and this great lineage afterwards. There's a great generation, and yeah, and it continues. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that. This is way longer than I thought it would be. But if you understand that, leave a comment below. I'm glad to. If you don't get it, I'm glad to elaborate more. If there's any questions anyone needs, it's great because I kind of just do these videos on the spot. Yes, I wrote down a few notes for this myself, but I kind of just do these videos on the spot. So if there's anything that needs to be explained more, always open to talk. I want to create a Discord soon, once I build this community more, so we can always talk about these things, and we can have just like live discussions. It's great. But yeah, hope you all having a great rest of your day. Peace out. I know I talked a lot about men in this video, but I also want to bring this up about women. Women, y'all are in control of way more than what you think. You have a lot of power in this situation. Depending how you hold yourself and what you allow men to have, how much access you allow men to have, can change the game up like tremendously. It can really change the game up because knowing yourself and showing how you respect yourself, a man could see that and be like, she's not going for that, or she's not allowing this, and it could just it could literally change someone's perspective and someone's mindset. Like, dang. It can make someone really have a discernment and really think about, dang, how they've been treating women, or they've been doing this, because they're so used to having this easy access to a lot of women that when there is someone different like this, and like, whoa. And I'm not saying this is the case that will help everybody, but I will say that this is something that could help as well. I think, okay, women, I think it all comes from knowing yourself, self-love, just knowing who you are. I respect women to the highest degree. I feel like y'all are in control of so many things. I'm not saying y'all are the reason why a lot of men don't have self-control and they can't control themselves at all. No, I'm not saying that at all. But that can literally change the game, for real. Just knowing yourself and knowing that you are the daughter of the Most High, and having all this respect, just respect for yourself, and knowing how a man should treat you, and just self love, and knowing that you deserve better, and how you should be treated. And a man seeing that, it's like, dang, like this is an easy task, or maybe I really need to reflect and see how I've been treated women, or how I've been. Yeah, so always respect women. I feel like you are very important. And because I know I didn't mention y'all a lot in this video, but I did want to say that. So I hope that they can see this. I hope that a lot of you women can, if you're dealing with any type of trauma or anything, hope that y'all can grow from that, and then learn who you are, learn how important you are in this world, and that you aren't just someone people could just step over or do anything to. Um, and also I want to say this as well. Just because you want a guy to hopefully, like, if he sleeps with you, you thinking he'll love you more? No, no. He'll show you love from the beginning, and then for you to really know if a guy really loves you or really messes with you, don't let him just have sex with you. Don't. If a guy's willing to wait years or wait, it's a marriage, that really shows you the respect he has for not only for you, but the respect he has for himself. But when you just allow guys to just sleep with you, have sex or whatever, it's no. I think there's a lot of men are looking for. But when you just don't allow that at all, yeah, you change the game up. You change the game up. Yeah. So I think y'all are very important. Keep going. Hope you all heal from anything you're dealing with, and just keep striving to be the best. I think y'all are very important in this world, and y'all could teach a lot of people a lot. I feel like y'all can, with the just how just naturally nurturing you all are. You could just teach a man like sympathy, and and all that, and just having empathy for other people, and just caring more about people. I think y'all have that, just that nurturing just thing about you all, and just keep going. It's amazing. And I love every single one of you. And it doesn't matter who you are. I don't care if you're like the purest whatever you feel church girl to women who walk around in the streets begging for money. Doesn't matter who you are. Everyone deserves some type of happiness. Everyone deserves respect. Everyone deserves to be loved. And that's all I wanted to say. And you all got this. Just keep going. I just wanted to mention that. But yeah, you have a great rest of your day.